What is up, guys? CM back with another video. Another shit barn video as well. Today I'm going to be treating this a bit more of an actual review video for the shit barn itself, rather than an overview of Team Clash. And this game is going to be mainly for background gameplay for a pretty good match that I had. I say pretty good, this was a really good match that I had in Team Clash with a couple of other guys. One of them was fellow circling Super Ranger there, known as Kuroka Watt in World of Tanks. He also streams, and as Super Ranger 12, I'll put his link in the description if you want to check him out. So the shit barn. What are my thoughts on this tank? This is a fantastic ambush vehicle for pre-aiming corners, pre-aiming angles, punishing mistakes from players. This thing is very, very weak in terms of armor, and mobility is, it's okay. The mobility is enough to get you around. And the main thing to consider with this tank is that while it has a very good power to weight, it doesn't have much in terms of top speed. So when playing this tank, I actually don't do anything to improve the mobility in terms of equipment. What I run on this thing are optics, rammer, and the improved rotation mechanism. Now, the reason for that is because you don't get vert stabs on this, so I want something to improve the gun handling in some way. And also, in fact, the turret traverse rate. Because you want to be able to get on target fairly quick with this thing at times. So, your options in terms of ammo next, you have 3 shells, one of which you have to completely discard. So, your standard ammo is AP, which is 310mm of penetration for 1150 alpha damage. Your premium ammo is HESH, high explosive, with high pen. You've got 230mm of pen for 1750 alpha damage. Same shell velocity as the AP at 830 meters a second. And then your regular HE is 92mm of pen for the same alpha damage as the HESH. However, I don't see any situation where you will ever want to be using this HE over the HESH. So he's just got a nice quick slap on that E5. Note how it was mostly pre-aimed. He was basically filling the entire reticle, and I just slapped him in the face there. For about 500 damage. That was at one of the worst angles we can hit him as well that we hit. We hit the third front, which is pretty bad to hit on an E5. Now, like I say, this tank is great for punishing people who are making mistakes, who are maybe not paying attention, or who push out at bad angles, or push corners that you pre-aim. So, for example, that E5 there in the middle there, Zenshiro, well, he's not really paying much attention, so guess what? We're gonna just creep around this corner, take a second, bam, he's gone. Now, of course, we could have low-rolled there, but even then, that would have been very painful for him. He would have lost at the very least 1300 health, roughly. At the very most, if he was healthier, then he could have actually lost all the way up to 2188 health, which is the max roll for this tank. Now, this other E5, he's a one-shot for us now if we don't pen, and he's distracted, and we take him out nice and easy. Another thing this tank is very good for is cleaning up tanks that have 700 health or less. Especially if they're side-scraping, because this thing is absolutely punishing against people who side-scrape. So we're gonna just clean up this 277. Our friend Human there in the Kranwagen is gonna put another shot into him for us. Makes him a one shot. I don't really need to aim as much here, but I just go for the guaranteed shot here, just to clean that guy up. You can, of course, snipe in this thing. That is a viable thing to do. You have quite a few positions where you can use the tank. You have 10 degrees of gun depression and 8 degrees of elevation. The gun depression is actually something you do have to be careful of as well. You're a very tall tank, so you don't really want to be peeking ridges too much. At least not in an aggressive way. That's enough. You've got enough to be flexible, but just be careful aiming up at things or peeking ridges. And what you're going to see here is we're going to expect people to try and go around. I'm expecting the gorilla to try and flank here, so we're going to pre-aim the corner, and sure enough, there he is. We got lucky with a high roll there, and we one-shot the gorilla from full health. That was actually something that this match we actually needed to happen as a team. So now I'm expecting someone to go around me, either the Leopard or the AMX-50, so I'm just getting ready on the corner. There's the AMX-50. I know I can take at least 2 shots, and I knew he would be fully loaded. Unfortunately for him, he donks one into my tracks, and that gives me enough time to reload and get the shot on that very squishy turret for the kill. 1,000 health. He was never going to survive. And in fact, one of my teammates got a shot in him to bring him down by 400 as well. So even more of a guaranteed one shot there. So like I say, this tank very good for cleanup in terms of picking off low health targets. A lot of these derp guns are, just this one is by far the best at doing so. And of course having a pseudo turret, unlike the closest comparable gun, which is that of the Jagdpanzer E100, you can actually peek corners a little bit better. You can actually take different angles without showing the entirety of your tank. So this match is almost over already. It's just the Optic 268 version 4 left. So here we go. He's low health here. We're just gonna take the reload in a moment. We're taking our time, but he's about to die. So the shit barn, like I say, very, very fun thing to play, actually, for me at least. Very rewarding if you can get your positioning and your timing right on when you're getting shots at people, get your aim right on, like, squishy parts. I wanted to try and get the 7th kill there. Unfortunately, a little unlucky. So that was 6.1k for 6 kills in Team Clash. Very quick match. So like I say, this tank, fantastic for punishing mistakes. Great for, like, taking different positions at different angles that might be unexpected, or that you can very easily pre-aim, especially against squishier targets like the Gorilla 15. Leopard is a very easy tank for you to pen as well. In fact, actually, if they're not hulled down, the UDES 1516, the Swedish tier 10 medium, and in fact, with the same respect, the tier 9 as well, the UDES 16, very tasty targets for this gun if they're not hull down. I would, however, recommend that if you want to take a variety of ammunition, take mostly HESH, and then, as you can see, I've taken a couple of AP. Now, HESH is the premium HESH. You want to make your standard ammo. You want to use that the most. The reason for that is because you're going to come up against a lot of heavily armored targets still at tier 10, so you're going to want to, at the very least, get a chunk of damage that's at least somewhat similar to other same tier tank destroyers like the 268, the Gorilla, and other 750 alpha damage tank destroyers. At the very least, shot per shot, you want to be getting that roughly 600 to 700 damage on a non-pen out there, which compares favorably to the 750 alpha damage that you see at the tier. However, if obviously you do pen someone, that is quite likely to put someone out of action for the rest of the match, or at least make them such a small threat to your team that they can very easily clean them up later. Because let's face it, if someone's full health and they get slapped for a penning shot from this gun, they're probably want to be playing a little more careful during a match, which generally means they're going to either fall back further than they maybe mean to, or they might just not play as much. They might not play as aggressive. They might just hang back a lot more, which might give your team a bit more of a chance to, take stronger positions, move up. You can, of course, potentially set people on fire or ammo rack people with this tank. I've had it happen multiple times. I've one-shot tanks from full health by either setting them on fire or ammo racking them with HESH from this tank. The AP actually has a very genuine use, however, and that use is overmatching. Now, obviously, if you don't pen someone with the AP, you do no damage. That's why I main the premium HESH for 230 pen, because you're still going to do damage on a non-pen. The AP, however, is very useful against things like the Swedish TDs, where maybe you have an angle to hit them, but if they're facing you, you have a ton of spaced armor on the front of those tanks that will neuter the HESH a little bit. It'll mean you'll get a non-pen on them frontally, when you could, with the AP, just auto-pen them frontally. There are times as well where if you're not sure that you'll get a pen with HESH, but you need to get over 700, 800 damage, then the AP is a useful thing to have. For example, let's say I didn't have a chance at one-shotting the, let's say the MX-50 this match. Let's say he was on 900 health, but no one got that extra shot on him. So then I would be able to secure that 678 damage roll with a that could have easily been a non-pen with the HESH. In that situation, actually, the AP is also a good choice. The thing there is that you can also very easily low roll. That's why I specifically say 900 health is a good point for you to use the AP on someone. If you see someone on 900 health and you think they're going to be coming for you and you have a chance to load into AP before they get to you, good time to use it. Or, alternatively, if you know someone's on 900 health and you think they're going to be respotted somewhere, or if you want to make sure you can get the kill at long range for free, then that's another good example of when to use it. Overall, this is a great support vehicle overall. Obviously, the type where you want to be dealing those heavy hits. I would actually say this is in the same class of vehicle as the Jagdpanzer E100. They compare very similarly. They both are designed to be doing those heavy hits. This tank does it by maneuvering to different positions on the map that might be unexpected, where you've got that flexibility in terms of mobility, gun depression, and turret traverse. Whereas the Jagdpanzer can do it through hit points, through armor, and can actually take a hit here and there. Whereas this thing really can't. And if there's artillery in the match, you want to be spotted as little as possible in this thing, because artillery will be gunning for you because they want to get that juicy pen roll on you just as much as you want to be getting those juicy pens on enemy tanks as well. So, yeah, this thing very easily has become one of my favourite tier 10 tanks, and along with the FV4005, just for pure fun. I don't play these tanks very seriously. I don't take matches particularly seriously in them either. I play these things because they're a meme, and let's face it, we all want those big damage rolls, really, and that's why you play these things. Yes, you can absolutely get fucked by RNG. It can absolutely ruin your day, but let's face it, that can happen with every single tank. And frankly, with the way tier 10 is in random battles right now, I really feel like this is the kind of tank I would rather be playing. Just something where I can just not really care and just hopefully get out a good couple of pens on people. Funnily enough, by the way, I do feel like this tank works better in randoms than it does in Team Clash. And the reason for that is because you actually get more chances to fire your gun. Also, you have more people. Oh, I say also, but this is actually connected to that. Having more people on your team to take hits for you or to do spotting for you, so then you don't have to try and do it yourself, is a very useful thing to have. On that note as well, actually, that's part of the reason why I actually have optics on this. Instead of, for example, either turbo or the improved aiming module or the module that reduces the size of your aiming circle. The reason why I use optics over those is because in a lot of situations you still want to be able to spot things. And you want to be able to neutralize a little bit of camo. So with optics on this thing and the crew that I actually have around 460, 470 meters view range. That's optics, food, and both view range skills in the crew and brothers in arms. So then, at the very least, in some good situations where maybe I don't have to deal with many bushes, I can still spot people if I have to in a pinch, which does really come in clutch at times. So if someone's maybe trying to go around me, but I've got some ridges between me and them, and I can spot them trying to do so, maybe I'm on reload, or maybe I see them trying to flank around, I give it that little chance to spot them first, gives me a time to, like, turn my gun, get aimed, and get the shot off, and maybe pull back into cover before they can retaliate. So, yeah. Overall, guys, I really enjoy this thing. I would definitely recommend giving this thing a try if you haven't already. I would, however, play it fairly patiently, play opportunistically, look for shots where people are going to be distracted, and take advantage of those. Punish people for their mistakes at pushing through angles where they maybe shouldn't, taking risky moves. That's where you do it very well. Like, for example, the T110E5 that we saw in the middle of the map for this match. He was actually in a fairly risky position. He was distracted, and we capitalized on that. Take advantages of that. And also, take advantage of positions where you're going to be fairly safe, but you have direct shots on places where people are likely to go as well. Like, for example, on, let's say, Redshire, for example, you've got, if you're playing randoms, you've got the heavy flank, right? If you've got north spawn, you've got a little collection of rocks on the, near the 890 line, on the very north part of that, where you've got a little bush you can basically see down the entire 890 line. And you can stay behind that bush. You can slap people who are pushing maybe a little too aggressively down the heavy line. You can support your heavies there. You've got like A1 as well. You can support the castle from in Redshire as well if you get that spawn. You know, you've got positions like these where you can sit and support your team for angles where people might push aggressively. And you can even get shots at the cap circle if you're playing encounter and you're sitting on A1 on Redshire as well, by the way. Just a couple of examples, and maybe something to get your mind going, where you can think, okay, where am I going to be able to get the most shots on people the most consistently and be able to reload safely? You know, like keeping all that in mind, and you will actually have a pretty good time with this tank. Anyway, guys, I know this has been kind of like mostly me talking, but hopefully you guys also appreciated the gameplay in the background while I was doing so. Hopefully you guys learned something about this tank today, and well, hope you enjoyed the video. And I'll be back next time. See you soon.